The Freelance, episode 25. My name is Zach, and I am a reenactor and a jouster, and more recently a LARPer. And I'm joined today by Isaac. Isaac, you're not Nick,
Hello.
who's normally with us.
I'm not. Not quite.
But yeah. Say hello to everyone. Tell them what you do, and
Yeah. Well, I'm Isaac. I'm primarily a LARPer, but I'm also a mail maker, chainmail, and I make various bits of like LARP shields and other stuff, mostly for kind of early period Viking Age, and a bit before and a bit afterwards.
Yeah. So, in your LARP, you do fantasy LARP and historical LARP. Is that right?
Yeah. Generally speaking, I mean, you kind of there's a fair array of LARPs in the UK that I go to, and I go from everything from kind of quite close alternate history LARPs through to like Empire, basically, kind of high fantasy stuff. I like my history, so I tend to go for a more historical flavor wherever I go. But yeah.
And what kind of eras have you done with that?
I've done all the way through, like from Iron Age, kind of Celtic era stuff, through Viking Age and 12th century, 12th, 13th century, and then kind of up to 14th century. So I've kind of done a bit of a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So, because the two kits that I've seen you in are kind of a Baron's War one, so that's English 12th century kind of thing, and then your Empire kit is kind of based on 10th century Saxon.
Yeah, it's kind of late Saxon, 10th century kind of era. I'm actually currently putting together a kit for like 7th century like era as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what that ends up looking like, because I've been doing the research for the 1066 project that I'm doing, and the early Saxon stuff, or the earlier Saxon stuff, so much more interesting than the 1066 boring stuff. So,
well, interesting in different ways, I think, for sure.
Yeah, but I think generally things that are less often done are just more interesting in history, aren't they?
Yeah, I agree. In terms of like depictions and of people's kits and stuff, if it's something that's not kind of, because like everyone does kind of 100 Years War or like, you know, War of the Roses.
Yeah.
Stuff. It's nice to see a bit more of a niche.
Yeah.
Kit from a niche time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we go through a few things before we get into the meat and veg of this. So, first of all, Isaac, projects. Have you been working on anything recently?
I've got so many projects on right now. So my main one that I'm working on kind of most diligently is I'm trying to finish off a set of mail that I'm making for someone, for Elliot. You might know. Do you know Elliot?
It's possible. A lot of people that we know have got more than one name.
Yeah,
and I don't mean like
anyway,
first and last name.
Yeah. So I'm making a full kind of tailored 13th century mail for him.
No.
So that's been taking me a while. Luckily, he's basically the same size as me, which makes the tailoring a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
So I've been working on that. And then my other big project at the moment is in August, I'm going to Germany to do Epic Empires, which is one of the big German LARPs. Along with some other people, I'm putting together like an earlier Saxon kit. So I'm making like one of the kaftan like wrap over warrior coat things.
Yeah.
You see them on the press black on the helmet panels from the Sutton Hoo helmet and Staffordshire Horde and stuff. There's quite a few depictions of them. I'm making one of those. I'm also making a domed shield. I finally found a core material that I can use for a dome shield.
Great.
It's actually right here. Finally.
Nice.
What else am I doing? I'm gonna try and edit my helmet a bit to turn it into a bit more of an accurate earlier period helmet. I'm gonna change the nasal on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And then on the back burner as well, I need to finish making I'm basically decking out a horn with a bunch of I'll show you them actually. I got they're stuff on a shelf here. I don't know if it's going to come across very well, but I went to see Wolfodenas, who are one of the best early Saxon reenactment groups. Guys there, he was making the press black.
Bigger.
So he's made I'll see if I can make it focus. But yeah, it's beaten copper basically, press black. So what they do is they make the molds out of lead and then they beat copper over the top in between like the two lead panels. And create this like knotwork. And I've got a whole bunch of that. And this isn't the right horn. I've got a much bigger horn, but I'm going to basically deck it all out, and I'm going to try and get this gilded somewhere so it's proper gold. Yeah, lots of projects on the go, and hopefully all done for Germany in August.
Yeah, well, I thought I had a lot of projects, but you put me to shame there. Love the press back on the horn. Yeah. So, is there anything that you're working at ahead of Empire coming up?
For Empire, so a lot of the stuff that because my kit for Empire is kind of a late Saxon kit, but I think the brief kind of leans more into the early Saxon vibe anyway. It's like the Rohirrim thing. The early Saxon stuff is a lot more kind of showy. It's the press black, it's the fancy stuff. So I think I've not got Empire as like a hard deadline, but a lot of the stuff that I'm making for Germany, if I can get it done in time, I'll wear it at Empire. It fits the vibe better.
Yeah. Cool. Very nice. Well, yeah, I've been working ahead of Empire as well, but I am making some leather-covered costrals. So these are the metal, kind of the basic metal water bottle that you can get basically anywhere, and I'm coating them in leather to look more like a costrel, for sale on my stall. So I'm gonna have a stall at Empire. I've got an upgrade for my tent. I've got an awning out the front, and I'll have the armor that I've made set up and things like that. So that's what I'm working on project-wise, and that is going to be my first event of the year. So have you got anything before then, or are you?
I can't remember if Dumnoni's before or afterwards. I think Dumnoni's afterwards. I know Menez is next weekend, and a lot of people are going to Menez. I couldn't get myself together in time. I do intend to go at least to one this year and see what it's all like. So, but I'm missing Menez, unfortunately. I think it's either Empire or Dumnoni is the first one. Dumnoni's down in Devon. It's like a Celtic. Well, it's a pagan era LARP, so it spans everything from kind of Bronze Age all the way through to like just Viking Age kind of stuff. Yeah, highlight for that one actually. It's one of my favorite LARPs.
Yeah. Cool. Michael J. Foley says, were tents actually common for medieval soldiers? It depends on the period, basically. We know that by the late medieval period, knights were expected to have tents, and they were also expected to bring lodging for the soldiers that were under them. So some would have them, some of them wouldn't. Sometimes they'd build marching camps and put up shelters, kind of as a group, and then sleep under there. Yeah, Isaac, do we have much evidence for earlier periods, or?
There's quite a few depictions. I mean, it's hard to know in depth because there aren't many depictions from kind of Anglo-Saxon period, but we do see tents popping up there. I have a pet theory about how people slept, basically, on campaign and stuff. Because in like Napoleonic era, they basically just made massive blankets, and like 6 people would sleep under a massive blanket. And I think probably something similar happened. You see lots of depictions of people in the era with like big old cloaks on, and a lot of the like textile armor, like the wrap overcoats and stuff, I imagine are pretty toasty and warm. So I think there's a lot in the clothing that they just wore that they'd make shelter with, and similar to like a great kilt you see in the like Scottish, like 17th century Scots stuff.
And it's relatively easy to make a shelter with stuff that's lying around, you know.
If you got a big blanket.
And it just going into a nearby woodland, finding some dead trees.
I mean, I last year I went camping in Skye with my very minimal camping setup, which is basically just a good few blankets, lots of tunics, and you've seen my little lean-to shelter. It's just a big wool blanket, and I slept in November in Skye. It was a bit cold, but it was doable.
Good. Michael says that he'd heard someone state that tents weren't as common for common soldiers. Are you implying that I'm a common soldier there, Michael? Because so my character, first of all, it depends on the campaign and so on. If you were an indentured soldier as part of a lord's retinue, then he would probably be expected to provide shelter for you, whether that's paying for it in a local tavern or bringing a tent as part of his baggage train. If you were a group of mercenaries, then you might band together to buy one tent between you. Earlier periods, the Roman army would have one tent for every 8 soldiers, and that was supplied by the army and owned by the army, but the soldiers were responsible for looking after it. It seems reasonable that although we don't really have evidence for it, the Saxon Huscarls might have shelter provided by their lord. But
even Feardsmen are well equipped. Like you can see in the there's like quite a lot of documentation of what people in the Fyrd, which is essentially like the levied irregular soldiery, kind of irregular soldiery, that their equipment requirements were like helmets and swords and stuff that's generally speaking quite expensive, and more than you'd expect the kind of common soldier to have. So I don't think it's I don't think it's unreasonable to expect them to have things like tents or good shelter anyway.
Sure. And anyway, at Empire, I'm a merchant. My character is a merchant who's traveling to. It's not the capital of the Empire, is it? But it's like the main meeting place of the Empire. Every 4 times a year, they have a summit there, and so various people travel there. My character is going there to try and make it big, sell lots of stuff. So he needs a tent to shield all of his wares and all of that sort of thing. So, it is a bit
Whereas
of
my character who kind of already made it big
Yeah.
is sleeping under a sheet, basically.
Yeah. Well, my tent is a little bit ridiculous, especially now that I've got an awning on the front. The footprint is 6 meters by 5 meters, and it's just me in there. So if it gets too cold, Isaac, you're welcome to come and
I just commandeer the group tent, to
yeah,
be honest, most of the
yeah,
time.
yeah, cool. So that's events. Research. Isaac, have you done any research?
Apart from the ongoing mail research, I mean, I look there's various resources I use, but mostly Isaac Crow, another Isaac mail
Okay, yeah,
maker.
yeah,
He's got various kind of. There's one paper in particular that I read quite a lot, and it has very precise, like he's got all the pictures, and it's quite precisely like mapped out where all the expansions are on historical
okay,
pieces of mail, and that's
yeah,
really useful for tailoring mail for people. Um, Otherwise, just like learning how to sew difficult things. I mean, this here, this is parts of my warrior coat, and they're like
yeah,
it's lined and bordered and everything, and it's
yeah,
a lot of mind power to try and figure all that stuff
yeah.
out.
I'm sure.
But yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Nick and I were saying last week that maybe we should combine research and projects into one thing, because usually it's projects
Mm.
and research are going on at the same time, and are linked. But I'm umming and ahhing, right? So if you're in the chat and you're waiting for me to release another video about my 1066 kit, then I apologize. First of all, this won't be the first. This won't be the only apology of the evening. Um, but I'm a little bit terrified because basically my research about the Battle of Hastings undermines a lot of what the current reenactment scene does, and I don't want to turn up and make videos and annoy a lot of people. Um, so yeah,
I think it's
it's a difficult
important
one.
to come at it with fresh eyes sometimes, because it's very
Mm,
easy for established kind of groups to go off research that they did 20 years ago or whatever, and
yeah,
it's just the
absolutely.
norm to be doing it that way. I think it's important e- to it's good to have fresh people in, but also
Mm,
to challenge your views every now and then, your
yeah,
established views. So
yeah, absolutely.
what is the research that what do you think? Or are you going to save that for a video?
So I started off thinking, okay, um, I'm gonna make this kit. They're very similar, Saxon and Norman, right?
Hmm.
So although my Patreons, let me just get the names up on the screen and just say thank you. My patrons voted for me to do a Norman kit, and then I thought, well, actually, if I just kind of tweaked a few things, then I can have access to both Norman and Saxon, and we can compare
They're
the two.
basically the same. It's just whether or not you grow a
Yeah,
moustache.
yeah, or shave your hair up to
Yeah, yeah.
like there. Um, so I was thinking, well, I definitely need a kite shield. But to ease myself in, I'll make myself a flat shield, like a round flat shield.
Hmm.
Um, and then I discovered that uh, basically all of the circle shields on the tapestry look like they're actually kind of domed or conical.
I think they're all domed shields.
So they're actually now harder to make than a kite shield. So then I
Hmm.
go back to the kite shield, and noticed that some of them appear that they're actually flat, not curved, and the cavalry appear to be using them mostly in a way that the reenactment cavalry don't.
Sideways, right?
And yeah, sideways, and even like sometimes almost with the tail in the air.
Yeah.
And also, um, they appear to be a lot smaller than a lot of reproductions.
That you
They
see that quite a lot in depictions across the board through that period. The
mm,
shields are generally really small, and the finds we
mm,
have, at least for earlier period, the finds we have don't always match up with the depictions. So there might be
right,
something in like trying to show the faces and stuff, and like trying to make them
yeah.
smaller so you can see better. But it's really hard to tell.
Except that it's very consistent that the kite
Right. Okay.
shields appear to be um, shoulder to knee.
That makes sense to
Uh,
me, to be honest.
yeah, which does make sense. But it really reduces the size compared to a lot of reproductions, which are very
Hmm.
big and very heavy.
Well, that's the key.
Um,
They're very heavy.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so yeah, I'm.
I have lots
I
of
thought I'd
thoughts.
start on something easy like a shield, and then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah,
I have thoughts on all of that stuff. But yeah, yeah, it's
cool,
interesting
yeah.
for
Well,
sure.
we're
I've got controversial views on the male in the Bear Tapestry as well, because they look like they're wearing
great.
like jumpsuits
Yeah,
almost. You know?
they do, and we need to do a video on this instead of
Yes.
skirting
Sorry,
around the issue.
I'm derailing.
But let's definitely find a time where you and I can get together and film a proper video with props and visual aids and everything.
Of course.
Sounds good. Um, cool. Benjamin Chisholm says regarding mail, I spoke to Nick Chesterfield at last tour about the crap standard of most male standards. Is that to do with the weave not changing and things like that?
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to because with all the historical examples, they get a lot. Obviously, they're much denser around the neck,
Mm,
and they normally do that by having thicker gauge wire,
mm,
or in very rare occasions they do a 6-in-1 weave. I think there's only
yeah,
one they found. They do a 6-in-1 weave. If they don't, it seems that they basically just didn't have the rings available, so they did a 6-in-1 to do the same.
yeah,
My one I've made is 6-in-1 here, and then 4 in
yeah,
1 for the rest. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, it's I think it's basically because if you're going to do it without custom making rings, and you like a lot of them are just sewn onto a stiff thing, and they're 4-in-1 up here, really loose
yeah,
weave, and it's not right.
yeah,
Historically they were much denser, but
yeah,
if you can't get the rings, you can't do it, and custom
yeah,
made rings are really expensive.
yeah, and custom made for the person, and it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
It's as a piece of armor, it doesn't actually do a lot of work in reenactment
I've
because
seen people
hopefully
put
no one's stabbing
plastic.
for your throat.
I know people
Yeah,
do this at SCA. They require like a
yeah,
solid gorget, and people like
yeah,
hide plastic or metal inside the lining,
yeah,
which is an option. That's
yeah,
it's a good way to do it, but again,
yeah,
more expensive, more faff.
yeah. And I'd agree with you, Benjamin, that yeah, I think just in general, male is considered a lesser part of
Oh, some of the mail is
a armor kit,
shocking.
and people will spend thousands of pounds on their plate and not want to spend £100 on a piece of mail, and
Mhm.
that includes me. I'm I'm a I'm I'm a bit of a oh I'm a yeah, I'm a bit like that, but I'm learning. I'm learning to appreciate the earlier stuff as well, which
even in later period, it's the functionality is of proper tailoring of mail. Like it adds so much maneuverability in like armpits and shoulders. When I first did it, I was shocked how much of a difference it made.
Absolutely. So Michael says, I still can't determine what the heraldry was in 1066. Again, some really interesting stuff.
I
I'm
know.
appreciating your comments, but we need to save that for another video because there's some really interesting theories about shields. So we'll hit on that. And I know, Michael, you've mentioned that several times to me, and we will get to it, I promise. But we're here today to have a look at some kits from medieval kit posting. And if you haven't been to medieval kit posting, it is it's a group on Facebook which was created by Lotti or Nightly_lady, and Lotti has kind of built this just from the ground up, just a place for people to share their passion for kits um, and like have a positive place to get inspiration and so on. So I think it's really a great place to have, a great thing to have. Basically, you can post there. Um, and if you ask for feedback, you can get feedback. But if you just want to post and you've just got your first ever piece of medieval armor and you just want to post and share the joy that you feel, then you can get that as well. So like I said in the description, you can find a link to that place. And a while ago now, I did a post. It was on the 17th of December, so just before Christmas, which was a bit silly because it starts getting really busy then. I posted asking for kit ideas and got absolutely inundated. And then it was Christmas, and then a whole load of things happened in real life that just put a hold on this. So I thought it would be a good idea to do this in a live stream. Because we've got so many kits to look at, but also a lot of them are earlier periods. So I asked Isaac if he'd come on because he has a bit more experience with mail and things like that. We're going to keep it positive. These are people who have signed up for this, so they've put their own kits up for review. But when we won't be slating, we'll just be saying a few things that we like and then a couple of improvements if we can think of any. Okay, and yes, Guns and Rosenthal, I will do a video of my brother's armor. Thank you. I saw your post as well about that. Okay, so here we have, this is a mid 13th century knight by Kieran Flynn. The hard kit is about 2/3 complete. There should a silk surcoat on the way that will be worn over the top of the yellow tunic and in need of a sword. It looks like just from the tip that's poking in there, Kieran is holding a nylon waster there. But first up, this is not a period that I am particularly aware of, which is a shame because it seems like a really nice kit.
It looks really. Just generally, the first thing I thought when I saw that was like, "Oof, yeah, looks really nice." The mail in general looks really good. I think it's 6mm. I can't, which is great. The helmet's lovely. Quality of the mail really good.
So it's really nice to see mail being worn over the right thickness of clothing.
Yeah.
And this really tight into the face, with just kind of that peephole looking out. That you see that all the time in these early medieval depictions, don't you?
Yeah.
So really nice to see. I don't know, Kieran, if you've made the mail yourself, or if you had it tailored by someone. That's a good job. It's
Yeah,
looking good on
it's
you.
very nice. Right lengths, right kind of. Yeah, it's like skin type. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean. It's very tight to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
arms, from what I can see, which is excellent.
So you're
I
not carrying any extra weight. That's something that
yeah,
I think a lot of people don't recognize. Is baggy mail is extra weight.
yeah, and it's not just extra weight. It's extra weight that's away from your hand,
Yeah,
so it's like multiplied by the distance from your body, and then when it swings around, the momentum really like messes with you. And you do actually see towards the end of the 13th century, you do start to see like baggier mail, and it's like
mm,
tied in. I think they're probably starting to wear solid armor underneath, which is
yeah,
why they make it baggy. But generally
yeah,
speaking, they get it as tight as they can, so it's not flopping around.
yeah. That strikes me as a um, in order so mail doesn't fold back
Mm,
quite so well. So if you're attaching something underneath it, then you need it to be a little bit baggier so you can fold it back, attach either your elbow cup or whatever it is
yeah.
underneath, and then fold it back down. And yeah, but that's not what this is.
Hmm.
Um, the the shield looks really nice as well. I like that attention is being paid to the back of the shield. I assume the front as well
Yeah.
has some. Um,
I think he's taken a little bit of license with the writing on it. Oh, there's another
yeah,
picture.
there we go.
Lovely. Yeah, I
Yeah,
haven't seen evidence of writing on the back of a shield, but maybe it's
okay.
a thing.
Yeah,
The strapping. If we go back to the other picture briefly,
yeah, sure.
um, you see a lot of reenactment shields strapped basically
Mm,
like this, where it's like a diagonal, just two things.
hmm
Um, I like the guige on it, the neck strap.
hmm
That's nice. In from what I've seen from my research, there tends to be like a few more options of strap attachment points on the shield.
Yeah,
They don't tend to be so much just like strap. I'm not.
yeah,
Maybe he's found one that is. In which case, all power to
yeah,
him. I generally find having a few more options and a few different ways to hold the shield to be quite nice for me.
yeah,
Uh, so, but definitely not like it's not like
yeah.
a negative for the kit. It's just a preference
No,
thing, I guess. You just
yeah,
see it like that a lot. I'm not sure about the tunic he's wearing. Like the sleeves are very
yeah,
baggy. I haven't
yeah.
seen one like that before in a depiction,
So,
unless there is one from the Mac Bible where he's got the surcoat on and then there's like a baggy short sleeve thing underneath it,
yeah,
which might be what it is. I'm not
okay.
sure, but I haven't seen one like that before.
No, I hadn't either. So that was going to be my question: is had you seen one like that? Um,
He does say that he's got a silk surcoat on the way, so
yeah, yeah. So very nice. I think what's really clear from this kit is that Kieran has been working from primary sources,
mm,
um, and you can see how you know there's not reenactorisms really creeping in. Um, Things like the strap arrangement and the back of the shield might not be something that is on every medieval shield, but they're possible, and they're to do
yeah,
with personal taste, really.
yeah.
Um, like I said, I haven't seen the yellow coat thing before, but it's definite. I'd be really interested, Kieran.
Hmm. In general,
What?
that's one of the best like 13th century kits I've seen. To be
Yeah,
honest,
absolutely.
there aren't many really good ones out there.
Yeah, I would imagine as well that. Um, so he says his hard kit is about two-thirds complete. I'd imagine that's going to be a great helm to go over uh,
And I
the
think he
smaller
he
helm.
says a sword as well. Yeah,
The sword, yeah, yeah.
need a
Great.
lance.
Yeah, and a horse.
Yeah.
Uh, does a horse count as hard kit or soft kit? Right. Okay. So we've got Lotti now. So Lotti, like I said, set up the group and has been working over the past few years on a transitional harness uh, from the 14th century.
Looks about 1350, 60,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's been really nice to see Lotti's armor develop over the past few years. One thing I'd say is that you can really see how her her tastes have developed and how her eye has developed, because the legs are the most recent addition.
Mm.
And I absolutely I see myself in this, in that. So my legs were my first purchase, and by the time I'd got the rest of the harness, I was then looking at my legs and going, "Oh, I want to get new ones." Um, I think for this, the thinness and the slimness of the legs, which make really draws attention to Lottie's slight medieval figure, shows that maybe the arms are a bit too thick,
Mm.
and whether that's to do with the padding underneath, or whether the mail needs to be more tailored underneath there, I'm not sure. Um, but it it looks a little bit top heavy, and that's, I think, down to the legs being so good and so form fitting, compared to the older pieces of kit. Which, looking at this, yeah, it looks like the male is not tailored at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and there's reasonably heavy padding there. So yeah. So I'd say, just keep on going. Like
Yeah.
the 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 development has been great. I've seen you sell stuff and upgrade bits again and again, over the past few years.
Is it a
And
breast and back plate, or is it just a breastplate?
it's just a breastplate, I think.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. With male being my kind of area, like in this period, they would have really. There's some really interesting things they were doing with tailoring, especially so
Mm.
you'd see like lighter rings on the front and heavier
Yeah.
rings on the back because they didn't have a back plate.
Yeah.
But like all stuff in they'd have had tailoring up in the armpits and still kept this, especially if they got armor over the top like this. They'd have
Yeah.
had slimmer sleeves, and the one it's shape wise, it's fine most of the time because it's all covered up with armor. The skirt you can see when it's not tailored.
Yeah.
So like just with an armor of this period, like a couple of expansions in the skirt just to make
Mm.
it expand out around the hips
Yeah.
would really like add to the because it's just starting to get that wasp waisted thing,
Yeah.
just starting to
Yeah.
um and yeah, it would really add to it. But you
Yeah.
can
Absolutely.
it's definitely going in the right direction. It looks really good.
And Lottie's got that shape, so
Yeah. Yeah.
you can really accentuate it because of that.
Hmm. I think
And
a lot of
really,
getting sorry, go on.
I was going to say, take advantage of the fact that you've got that shape and
Hmm.
go all in. Like, get that breastplate honed in around the waist
Yeah.
and accentuate that look.
A lot of getting the look correct, I think, like past the actual individual pieces and the quality of the armor and stuff is getting the silhouette and the shape correct.
Yeah.
um so yeah, it's a problem, maybe we'll see it later on, but it's a
Yeah.
problem you see with earlier period kits. They never have the skirts of the tunics long enough and it
Yeah.
messes with the silhouette.
Yeah. I think um I think there is an issue as well with the transitional period, particularly
Hmm.
because so many of these things might be correct in isolation.
Yeah.
But so, for example, there are some people. some individuals in this period who are wearing really quite thick padding
Mm,
because that is their main defense.
yeah.
And then there are others who are wearing very thin padding because they're wearing other stuff with it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
you know,
quite familiar with like 1340s era, and
yeah,
that's just before this, and you see still like it's a problem I see a lot with people trying to do. I mean, you don't see many people doing kit of that era, but
yeah,
when people are doing kit of that era, the the male skirts are almost never long enough. You
yeah,
always see like because when they're wearing the coat of plates, they've got the like dags hanging out the bottom
mm,
underneath their surcoat. You've got the dags, and then you've got mail that goes down to at least mid thigh, sometimes a bit further.
yeah,
And then sticking out the bottom of that, almost to knee length, you can see whatever the under armor garment is. And
yeah,
then you could just about see the cuisse or whatever they're wearing on the
yeah.
upper thighs. Like it's very clearly there's like
Heavily layered.
there's layering going on, but it all goes
Yeah,
longer than people generally tend to do it.
yeah,
And I don't know how late that carries on really, so I don't know if that's really applicable here.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Great. We've missed a few things in the thing. So, oh, Lottie's in the chat. Hi, Lottie. Lottie said, "Do I have permission to send an invite link to medieval kit posting?" I've put a link in the description, so you should be
13
able to
yeah,
see
yeah.
it in there. So anyone, do let if people can check, let me know whether or not it's there because I added it a little bit late. Um, uh, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this one, but someone with an unpronounceable name, more more consonants in a row than I'm used to.
Yes, I see
Says
it.
baggy mail would make sense for poorer soldiers who afforded some cheaper hallwork somehow but can't afford to tailor it. Absolutely. So um,
Just
there's
depictions.
there's uh, um, there's armors that were owned by a village, um, certainly in the late medieval period, and they were expected to send troops, and so they banded together and they bought armors and they kept them in churches. And then when it was time, the village had to send two people, so they sent them. They dug out all of the group armor, found the bits that fitted best, and sent them off. So it's
Hmm.
absolutely that's the case.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot of hallbergs. Remember, mail is basically recyclable. It lasts.
mm,
You know, you can just chuck it in a barrel with some sand and spin it around, and you can derust it. So
yeah,
a lot of mail in a later period would kind of probably already have been tailored to an extent. It would have been made tailored for someone
yeah,
or to a certain degree or cut up into sleeves. And you see all sorts of mail with like random tailoring in it from before. So there would probably be at least some degree of tailoring in most sets of mail. But
yeah,
you do see like really baggy mails later on. So sometimes it was a like in some of the Italian stuff later on, you see baggy male sleeves as a fashion choice.
mm,
Um, so yeah, there is definitely baggy male out there. I think it's a bit of a. I mean, I'm not an expert, especially on like historical kind of documentation on this stuff, but I think it's
yeah,
probably a misnomer to think that like oh poor people would just have worse like baggy male because a
yeah,
lot of it poor people might have old male
yeah,
that was fitted for
yeah,
someone else, but it's still probably
yeah,
tailored.
yeah. Sure. And actually, if you've got the industry there, it wouldn't.
Mhm.
And if you know, the materials were more expensive than the labor,
Yeah.
so making something baggy when it doesn't need to be costs
Mhm.
more money.
It's
Um,
probably a good way to think. It's almost like if you think of it like buying a suit today,
mm,
um, like the suit has a cut to it. It's designed with a certain cut, so it's designed
yeah,
to like kind of, and you know, you don't have to go and get a fully tailor-made suit to fit you perfectly to get a suit. You know, you can go to a shop and try a few on, and they're cut in a way that they move and they fit kind of a lot of people. You know, they're not just made of like straight t-shirt tube, you know, kind of thing. And the same would have been true, I imagine, for male.
Yeah, but yeah, great stuff, Lotti. Thanks for sharing and for prompting all of this as well, because basically without medieval kit posting, we wouldn't be doing this. So thank you
I'm a
for
fan
that.
of that, like either covered Aventail or just textile Aventail. I like that. You don't see that much, and it's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't really see it, but you can see that the sleeves here have got got some nice shaping to them, and the quilting going round, and the fabric buttons. So there's some really, really nice aspects to that. Yeah, looking forward to seeing your next developments. So we've got Gavin. Gavin actually, I think, posted this for me a long time ago, and I never got around to doing it. So sorry, Gavin. Gavin has a. This is an early 15th century English armor, I believe. Similar in some ways to my one, which is that the pauldrons kind of go underneath the bassinet there, but I think it is a bit earlier than my one. Yeah. Let me see. There's a couple more. Oh, he's got a livery collar as well. There we are. Very nice. And
a plaque belt.
Plaque belt. Yeah, with the nice the hinge closing as well.
Nice.
So he said, at one point I added voiders for the armpits and elbows, but stupidly did not include these in the measurements for my armourer. And the result was that the arms were too tight and I couldn't bend my elbows. Not good when trying to fight. Yeah. So, yeah, that could, again, possibly be solved by
potentially
smaller mail and better tailoring. Unfortunately, it's really difficult nowadays to find something that is properly tailored, because if you look online, any mail that you try and buy is the best mail. Like
yeah, this is I'm trying to
yeah.
I'm trying to go for the gap, to be honest, because with my mail making, because lots of basically you either get it off the shelf from India or somewhere, and it's kind of t-shirt plus like sleeve tapering, or you go to someone, or it's like super high end, like museum quality. They make their own rings and everything, and it's going to take 2 years to even get on the end of the waiting list, and then it will take them 2 more years to do it, and it's kind of insane and amazing, and I love it. I'm trying to do the functional. You've got your shirt, let's tailor it so it works and fits and looks vaguely right.
Sure.
But it's hard to get that, for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, for Gavin, I would say this looks really good, and you don't worry about the voiders because you don't actually need the voiders. This armor has got a really good coverage, and there is a lot of art from the 15th century that shows a lack of male voiders, especially if you have large beziques like you have and a great bassinet. You wouldn't necessarily be wearing voiders all the time with armor like this. I would say the male skirt, if you did want to replace the male, then replacing the male skirt with a smaller link size, because you can see straight through that one, which kind of with this kind of armor, you want to look like an armored tank, which it definitely does, but the male skirt is the one part that I feel takes away from that in this presentation.
I'd agree. Generally speaking, you see it a lot. Again, it's reenactors who are focused on getting amazing plate armor, or whoever who's focused on getting amazing plate armor, and the male is kind of an afterthought. you see loads of male skirts where it's essentially a rectangle.
Yeah.
And so when you tie it up at the top or link it up together, however you do it, and then you take a step and the whole thing just like slides up your legs because it's not wider at the bottom. Pretty
Yeah.
much all, in fact, as far as I know, all of the male skirts from history that were properly made were they expand out at the bottom, so they're conical.
Yeah.
And you can notice it, or I can notice it in stuff like this, because you see where he's stepping,
Yeah.
it's ridden up and it goes straight across.
Yeah.
The the conical ones, it'll stay with a curve at the bottom, so it gives
Yeah.
you kind of more coverage and doesn't ride up when you step.
Yeah.
But it would
And it's
make a
that's
difference.
that's important for riding as well, which I know
Hmm.
Gavin has a plan to do. The expansions in the male skirt make it easier to get your legs around a horse
Hmm.
without it riding up too much. Um, and like we said, if you historically, if you're putting it together, it's actually cheaper to make it with the expansions than it is to make everything to the same size, because
Hmm.
it basically the expansions just mean that you can make the waist smaller than the maximum size, lower down size.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
you save on rings essentially.
Yeah, yeah. So good stuff. We're just it's just going to be all about
Oh,
mail now. Is from I
yeah, sorry.
invited you on, and we're going to
I
make
did
it
want to
all about
say,
mail.
I wanted to say on that last one actually. I've
Yeah,
seen people mention this. I'm not entirely sure. You can correct me on this, but strap ends sticking out everywhere. But they normally like
yeah.
trimmed right up once you've figured out where they like nicely want to sit.
I don't. Uh, they're trimmed to a certain extent, but not massively.
Right.
Um, they um, they often have ends to them, like metal ends to them, which I
Hmm.
think stop them from flapping around quite so much.
Right.
If you, yeah, they should probably be a little bit shorter than this. If you go too short, then it's actually hard to use them because you don't
Right.
have the grip and the leverage. But the getting a metal strap end on it does give you more of that grip, so you can go shorter. Um, yeah,
Cool.
mine does mine have strap ends? I don't think mine does have strap ends. Maybe that's an upgrade for my one. I'll have a look at the original and have a look at mine and see what I need to do. Okay, we got Benjamin Chisholm. Oh, should we check the chat? How are we doing? Michael says he doesn't see the 16th century very much. Lotti says it is a covered aventail, so there is a male standard underneath as well. Blue Steel says, "Do I have a Discord?" No, I don't. No, I've considered it, but I don't. I'm getting an old man at the moment, and things like Discord, having too many Discord servers makes me feel jittery.
Oh, there's so many
Uh,
notifications. It's too
yeah,
much.
yeah. I I like the ones that we have that I'm with for Empire LARP because I'm the one who posts most on them almost. Just so I'm not having to catch up with anyone else really. I'm just using it as my own
I
private
just ignore
Twitter.
them all.
Yeah. Oh, it's Zach again,
Yeah.
posting another
No,
photo
not
of a
you. I
waffle.
just ignore all of the notifications on there for anyone.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
dear.
um, yeah, uh, yeah. Kristoff says, "Good point with the mail. It's one of the lacks in my kit as well, and it somehow just becomes extremely expensive to upgrade from Indian mail into better quality." Yeah, as Isaac was saying, there's just such a huge gap between the entry level and the good stuff, right? plate armor, there's a bit of a slope.
Mm.
You know, you can buy a helmet for £200, you can buy a helmet for £500, and you can buy a helmet for £1,000. Male, it's like you can buy one for £200 or £1,000. There's not the
Yeah.
£500
It's
mark in the
slowly
middle.
getting there, I think, to be
Yeah,
honest. I know some of the male makers who are doing like off the shelf stuff are improving the
yeah,
rivets and
yeah,
various things like that.
yeah.
It's difficult
And
with mail because it takes so long. It's a lot, like,
yeah,
even if you know what you're doing, it takes ages. So everyone who knows how to do it has like a big queue
yeah.
already.
I I think there's a bit of there's a certain amount of snobbery, um, in some situations, which make people just not want to engage with the higher end thing.
Mm.
And you can understand it because, you know, I I know from plate armorers how often people like look at something and go, "Oh, I could get that for cheaper online," and you just think, "Oh, okay, yeah, bet you can." Um, but male makers must get that as well so much, which
I'm
must be
sure,
very
yeah.
frustrating. Um, but it puts people at odds and it makes people go, well, actually, I don't want to save up for this really expensive stuff because,
Mm.
um, yeah, because this is good enough for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
I think it's worth in terms of just functionality, like, and being able to move in your armor, like it's worth it being tailored, whether or not you like your because it is quite, you know, fine detail if you're looking really closely at the rings and saying, oh, they're too flat, or the rivets aren't exactly right and stuff. But in terms of like functionality, having it tailored right is a huge difference.
absolutely. Yeah,
So getting like an Indian male shirt tailored is worth doing if you can find someone to do it.
yeah. Having a go at it yourself, even if you can't afford that.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I learned how to do it. Just
Yeah, yeah. I I I've bought some Indian mail and contacted the guys and said, "Can you send over some extra rings with it?" No, yeah, that's fine. So
yeah.
yeah,
So it's something simple like doing a male skirt and basically bringing the top in with a line of contractions or expansions down, contractions up.
yeah,
Just doing
yeah,
that, like that's a simple enough project and will make it look so much better.
yeah. Good. Right. Okay. So Benjamin's one. So this kit, Benjamin says, has been improved since, but don't have any updates photos. So there's actually two kits here that Benjamin has sneakily snuck in under one post. So we've got this one, which has got the simple breastplate going on here. And then there's another one which doesn't have the Waffenruck,
Mm.
but does have a covered breastplate and fold. I would imagine that's probably got a back plate to it as well. They often
Like
do.
a Serrazina, is that what they call those things?
Yeah,
Something like that.
Corazina, yeah.
Corazina, yeah.
And then we've got armor, which wasn't in the previous one. And then this appears to be like the
Combo.
combination of the two. Now it looks like, so is this like the development? So it started off as this one. That's what I'm thinking. And then it moved to this one.
It's much
And
later,
then,
yeah.
so we've upgraded the legs. We've got complete greaves there. We've got the armor sorted. Um,
I think he's
and
probably just showing us what's underneath
yeah,
the yeah.
yeah, sure. And in the chat, Benjamin said that their kit is optimized for sport. So the boho style, I guess he means with that.
Chunky
But
gauntlets.
yeah, so that's the first thing, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
the first thing that would stand out would be We've got mitten gauntlets going on here when it should be fingered gauntlets, and these ones are made to look like fingers.
Yeah.
But
This is
there aren't.
a decent enough compromise, I think, for heavy fighting stuff.
Yeah. I would say as well, I think the bassinet is probably a little bit too big for going completely historical, but I do appreciate the moustache poking out from the Aventail. I think that's a great look going on there. And I like the way that you've upgraded the legs, and these are fully enclosed greaves, right? I think so, because that's yeah. I have not seen gutter greaves from this period. So yeah, having the fully enclosed greaves is a good move. Yeah, to be honest, I would say it's hard to say because I don't know how much of this body shape is padding and how much of it is Ben underneath. I always think go for the smallest waist you possibly can, but I would imagine that is hampered by the needs of Bohurt,
The padding and
Bohurt
stuff, yeah.
padding, because I think looking at the width of your ankles here, you could, if you were going historical, you would get away with thinner arms and a thinner waist there. And again, that would be a case of having, like Isaac was saying earlier, having more padding over the chest and over the hips, and less at the waist, and less on the lower arms there.
Can we go back to the one with the bottom one?
Yep.
I'm pointing as if you can see what I'm pointing at.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks like to me that his skirt is tailored, but
Yes.
I can't tell. It looks good. I'm happy.
Yeah.
You see the point at the sides
Yeah.
and at the front. That's what you want. I mean, you
Yeah.
see it done in different ways, but that's one of the ways, and it looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Of course, it might just be the way it's falling, and I might be wrong, but it looks good.
It does. Very good. Thank
Oh,
you,
also,
Benjamin.
looks like heavier gauge rings on the Aventail, which is a historical thing. They're
Yeah.
chunkier rings on the Aventails.
Yeah. Good point. Right, we're on to Blake Johnson, English archer, 1400 to 1415. So here we've got a mail shirt over padded gambeson. It's nice to see Aventails coming up to the lip, which you didn't used to see.
It's a nice bassinet as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice dagger there.
This is something I really like to see. You don't see it very much. It's like a lower status kit done really well.
Yeah.
Like, because to make a lower status kit that's really good, you still have to spend quite a lot of money. And people like to spend money on high status kits. So, and there's kind of this modern thing that like a low status kit you spend less money on, but like it looks like his mail looks really nice.
Yeah.
It looks like everything he's got looks to be really high quality, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, good. He did say that he's getting new hose made as well to fix the underwear issue. So that would be at this point. We're in a transition between split hose and closed hose, and so he's wearing split hose at the moment, which is causing his underwear to peek out from underneath his male shirt.
I think that's understandable for the because in this period, yeah, you're transitioning, but they'd still use split hose for kind of hard work, right? Or you know, when you're out and about, so it's still, you know, fine, I guess.
Yeah. Although I would say if there is a chance of showing your underwear, you would probably be wearing a slightly longer
Mm-hmm.
Coat / gambeson
Yeah.
under there, because it was considered unseemly, and at
Mm-hmm.
Agincourt, you want the king
Yeah.
to see your underwear. But
I
yeah,
like that the mail rolls over the edge of the Aventail as well. Nice
yeah,
touch.
you can see it's padded
Yeah.
underneath, but the mail wraps around. I think at this time most boots are shoes rather than boots, and I'm willing to be corrected on this. But I would say, if next time you buy a pair of boots, consider buying a pair of shoes, because I think this style, which I actually have a few pairs of, and they're very useful and everything. I think they're based on some Mary Rose finds, and I think that the earlier, so the 1400s to 1415, I think, are mostly wearing ankle shoes, as in below the ankle, rather than ankle boots, as in above the ankle. But again, great job. So maybe the hose will fix the underwear problem. Maybe a slightly longer gambeson. Maybe next time you get a hole in your boots, turn them into shoes. But great, looking really good. Uray, Uray Batella and Enrico Esposito. So these are
Oh, nice.
similar period to the previous one, but the other end of the spectrum, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
So we've gone 14, 15 kind of thing, but high status. Really love this transitional armet
Yeah.
with the hound skull style visor. I think
George
that's
was
really great.
considering getting one of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good look, but it's so specific to
Yeah.
just that
Well,
kind of 5 years.
yeah, I think it's because he was considering using it for SCA, and we ran into a
Okay.
problem with bassinets at SCA when we did it. If they don't fit you perfectly, when you get hit in the
Yeah.
face, the whole helmet turns and you get hit in the face by the visor, which happened to me. I nearly
Yeah.
broke my nose.
Okay.
And
Oh wow.
when we tried other people's close helms, because they sit on the chin, like
Yeah.
I know the Aventail. I have
Yeah.
a theory about the Aventail and some of the other visors and stuff where they would have sat.
Yeah.
But because the close helmets, they like cup your chin. When you get hit, the visor doesn't hit you in the face. You just get hit.
Yeah. It moves your whole head round instead of just
Yeah,
the helmet.
yeah. Instead of getting hit in the nose by the eye slots, which wasn't fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not actually sure which one is Uri and which one is Enrico. But a few things that I can see that I really like about these are, um I I like the two different styles of fold. So the one on the left is overlapping upwards, and the one on the right is overlapping downwards, which is really cool. And both were done. There are examples of both. I like the two different but similar bassinets going on. Oh, we've only got the one photo here.
I like
I think.
the
Go on.
guy on the left has I assume it's like I think that Armet bassinet hound skull looking thing is Italian artwork, isn't it?
Mm,
Oh, there's my stream back.
yeah. Yeah.
There we
You're
go.
here.
I was just saying, yeah, the it's Italian art. It's from an Italian artwork, isn't it? the armor.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the one on the left is more Italian. I don't know, the one on the right strikes me as maybe more Western Europe, possibly French.
But you see in a lot of Italian artwork, they don't have like pauldrons, or they just have like the shoulders. I mean, he's got little boulders, but I like that he seems to have left that.
Yeah. And here on the right hand side, we've actually got the vambraces going really high up on the arm, which again is very, very much correct for this type of armor. So again, two very similar armors with some real interesting differences that are all correct. Now I don't know if it's because this hand is so close to us, the one that's on the spear, but I do wonder if the guy on the left, if his gauntlets might be a little bit too big. If we have a look back here, his forearm is nice and slim, as it should be for this period, but then we've got quite a big gauntlet, and I think that we're still supposed to be in hourglass gauntlets at this point, without the mitten plate, but I might be wrong there, because as you say, it's Italian, and that's 1415 Italian is not really. I wouldn't categorically say anything. Yeah.
Wouldn't hold up in court.
No, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, and also get some sabatons, because everyone wearing that much armor needs sabatons, I feel.
They got the silhouettes right.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So Lyndon has got the start of a kit. This is a 1360s German man-at-arms kit.
Interesting.
So I would say it's hard to say exactly because I can't see it on you. But this is I like the shape of the bassinet. It's not a normal. It's not the shape that most people would have, but I like it, and I feel that it does scream that kind of 1360s German
It looks a
style,
lot
rather than
like 1340s in some other places. The kind of smaller skull, rounded bassinet, kind of possibly still worn under something else, kind of, or transitioning from that into something else, you know.
Yeah. So I think at this point in Germany, they've not gone as pointed as the English and the French have, the Western European styles.
So we got a Visby style coat of plates by the looks of things. I can't see it on him, so it's hard to tell the sizing and fitting and stuff. But it's pretty standard, isn't it? For that era.
Yeah. So, and another thing to point out is that I don't know which whether this is a replica of an exact Visby one or not, but there are no two Visby coats of plates that are alike. So even if it's in the style of, rather than an exact replica, that actually in some ways could make it more correct
Yeah, I like that it's coated in a red fabric and not just leather. I don't like the look of the leather ones. That might just be my preference. I don't know what it is historically, but in a lot of the manuscripts and stuff, it's colored fabric, or at least it's colored something or other. I would
Yeah.
say that I would have chosen more interesting dags, but it's totally your choice.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing that I would say, and I don't know if the Gambison is part of this kit or if this was just put on the model to get a photo of the kit, but um, it looks to have a more modern suit cut to the shoulder, whereas I believe at this point the shoulder cuts into the sleeve cuts into the shoulder a lot more uh, than than we have it now. So if this isn't your one, then uh, then I'd recommend looking at that for when you're getting one. If this is yours, then when it's time to replace it, once you've sweated into it and it's been battered underneath your armor, then have a look at the sleeve shape and see if you can go for a uh, find some primary sources for a German sleeve. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Lyndon.
He says he wants to get voiders, but
Oh yeah,
which is interesting because I doesn't have any armor.
yeah. So maybe male sleeves,
Yeah, sleeves.
or
You see short sleeves and long, but
yeah.
maybe he's got armor on the way as well.
Maybe we should do this again, and we'll get an update from Lyndon.
Yeah.
We'll do this again at some point. We're looking forward to seeing it develop, Lyndon.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan. Nathan has a man-at-arms kit of about 1390 to 1400. Apparently, new legs and breastplates and more appropriate shoulders for the German look that he wants. Yeah. So I'd say yes. This doesn't look German. I agree. I think um, I do like the shaping on those knuckles. We've got proper finger hourglass gauntlets going on. Where are you in this one?
Yeah, I was trying to figure that
Which
out.
one's you? This is a completely different kit. What's going on, Nathan?
Oh,
Okay,
he
we'll just
also
do
has
this
the
one.
okay.
What's this? Oh, all
It
right. I
says he
also have a
also.
14th century Teutonic. Oh, he's trying to get a 2-in-1 again. Sneaky 2-in-1. Um, okay. What should we... It's hard to see, really,
Well,
to be honest with this one.
disconnected male coif that's not square bib.
Yeah.
So that
So
I think
that
it's
should
not square
have a
bib.
square shape
It
to it.
should either be a square bib, especially if it's over the top of the Oh, we're early 14th century, so I'm not. This isn't my area of expertise, to be honest, actually. But generally
Mm.
speaking, when you've got male kit like that, um, the coifs are either integrated into the shirt, which you can get away with not having it if you wear it underneath the surcoat, because it kind of
Hmm.
it looks like it's integrated, or it should be a square bib, and you do see them worn over the top of the surcoat. They're square bib on the front and back, and they attach underneath the arms, sometimes by string, sometimes by male links themselves, like a male chain.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, it's hard to see really the rest of the
Yeah.
kit. I like the helmet, the crest on the helmet.
Yeah.
Don't see enough of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I need to do a video on helmets and helmet crests and things like that. Right. So what? So the 1390 to 1400. So Nathan says that there's new legs coming, which is good because these legs are a bit too short coming up here. you'd be surprised at how high you can bring a plate leg up and not hinder your movement at all.
The German ones they look like they come right up, like to the top of the hip bone.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah, so the Germans do it in multiple different ways. Sometimes
Mm,
they come all the way up to the hip bone with some articulations, and sometimes they bring the fold all the way down to just above the knee. So there's multiple
interesting.
ways here, but here Nathan's got a shortish fold and shortish creases. So you need to pick one or the other. Um, the I like the shaping on the arms. We've got some nice tuliping here. I like the hourglass gauntlets with fingers, which is right. You know, there's no other gauntlet that you can use with this period really. Um, I think at this point in history, I think that most of the Spalders are smaller and are integrated. But I might be wrong. Yeah. But it looks good, and I would really like to see where you go next with this.
Mm.
Um,
Again, the
New
male
legs
comes
and
like right up the
breastplate.
chin, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah, and a
Um,
moustache.
yes,
And a moustache.
extra
There we go.
points, extra points.
Yeah, good. Okay, yeah, it's hard to say because new legs and breastplate is like that's 3/4 of the armor almost. So it will really change the look with those. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you do there. Paulina has a Pomeranian burger from around 1370 to 80, and they say that they need to fix the chainmail sleeves because they're too big. So yeah, I mean, looking nice. I would agree on the sleeves. I love the sword.
Mm-hmm. That
The
nice
really
wide blade
wide
on it.
sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
I like the dagging
Uh,
on the male Aventail. I'm not an expert on Pomeranian burgers from 1370 to 1380, to be honest.
no,
So it's hard to say. But you do see sleeves that do come out baggy after the elbow like
yeah,
that. Um,
yeah,
in various periods they do that a little bit. Sometimes they have the van braces underneath, and they like to have that
yeah.
bagginess there. So
So I think this is more linked if it has a van brace underneath.
mhm,
So I think you're right. We do see that, but I think it's usually with a van brace underneath, and I think it's to allow you to attach the van brace.
mhm,
Uh, but that would be awesome. Just adding a van brace on there
yeah,
would just that kit would be finished. Um, looks really nice. And then another kit. So many people getting 2 reviews here. A rifleman from the end of the 14th, beginning of the 15th century. Hansa territory. Here I only need to change the shoes and fix the sleeves of the chainmail. So
oh, he's
I
got
think
the right
this is the
haircut.
same chainmail. Yeah.
um Not sure. um
I can't see the
he's right
shoes
about the
to start
sleeves.
with.
Sleeves are too baggy. You can see on underneath the spear, oh sorry, underneath the gun on the right, you can see the
Okay, yeah.
bagginess.
Yeah.
um but I can't tell if there's expansions in the waist and stuff. Oh, we
I
might.
don't think there are because
I don't
you've
think
got a
so
bagginess
either.
here that's being held up by the belt.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
so
the
maybe
male
just
could do with a
cinching the
bit more
waist of the
tailoring.
male shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. And similarly, I think, although I wouldn't say it's a crap male Aventail like someone was saying earlier, sorry, male
Hmm.
standard, the
Yeah.
weave looks a little loose and it's not quite as tight fitting as it could be around the neck. But it
Yeah.
does come
It
up
is
quite high,
smaller.
which is good.
Yeah, and it's smaller rings
Oh yeah,
than the shirt,
it's
which is
hard
good.
to see.
Yeah.
But
But
in
nice.
terms of
I like
the
this kit.
general look of it, it's really nice. It
Mm,
looks like it.
yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely
Yeah.
the right. It's got the right aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And it sounds like Paulina really has a handle on what they want to do to improve it as well. So
The right haircut for the period as well. Perfect.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Right. I think we're getting to the end of it. Have you got a few more minutes, Isaac?
I've got plenty of time. Yeah,
You got plenty of time. Okay.
nothing else to do.
Cool. So Roland Vandeloo says an almost complete early 15th century kit. Here we go. Right. Okay. Liking the gauntlets. We've got fingered gauntlets again, which is right for this period. The simple legs, we do see this sort of really simple plain legs at this point. I'm not sure though. Are those completely enclosed greaves? I can't tell. They should still be completely enclosed at this point. We've got nice slim vambroses here. And we've got I think the spolders are really a little bit too big. Well, I say a little bit too big. The spolders are too big for this time period. But actually, it's a really easy fix because just take the spolders off and
just the male
wearing a male shirt with those vambroses would work absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
The poleaxe is great, really nice example there.
That
what,
like
what about you?
padded aventail thing. Yeah, I like it. You do see depictions of that kind of thing. I'm not super well versed in this period, so I don't want to make too many comments on stuff. Maybe the breastplate could be a bit more globose. I'm not sure.
Yeah. But, so I'd push the breastplate out from the chest a little bit. I'd remove the spolders, and it's possible that the gauntlets could be a little bit more hourglassy. That's what I'd say about.
But they're not too big, which is a problem you see a lot.
Yes, yeah, they're the right size. I just think they might interfere with moving your hands too far that way. But yeah, really nice, Roland. And yeah, looking because you say it's almost complete. Again, I'm just looking at these, going, oh, I really want to see the updates.
Yeah,
because a lot of these were posted back in December. Yeah. So we've got Kristoff. Okay, so Kristoff took part in a tournament. Was this that really
Brayettes.
amazing? Yeah. So we've got Brayettes. We've also got another cool feature which you see in some armors of this period, which is the tassets actually being buckled to the inside of the fold instead of the outside, which is nice. Is that male fingers on the gauntlets as well? Maybe. Nice. Here,
very nice.
We don't have the gauntlets here. It is looking nice.
Oh, that's a nice collar as well. Nice standard. Like it comes really high up, and it's really close fitting.
Yeah. And like we've said before, the lack of mail in the gap in the arm is not necessarily a problem, and in fact, my friend Andreas had a very similar armor made to this one, and the very highly detailed painting shows that there are no male voiders being worn underneath it. So
doesn't have any sabatons on those, Zach. Are you going to be
he
annoyed
doesn't.
about that?
Yeah, we need more sabatons. So the the biggest cardinal sin is wearing sabatons but no greaves.
Oh, yeah, that's a weird one. I don't know about that.
I've seen that before. That
That's
just
like
needs.
wearing shoes with no trousers on.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
weird.
yeah. So yeah, there is something worse than no sabatons, and that is sabatons and no greaves. But I just think, in the same way that if you end the armor at the knee, it shortens the body. So where people wear armor without the greaves, you've got this really armored section,
Hmm.
and it makes that section seems shorter. And the more you extend the armor, the kind of the more imposing and bigger you look.
Mm.
Um, yeah, my weird hang-ups. I've only just got sabatons, so I'm just enjoying having them.
You're just you're just getting
Yeah,
on your high horse because of it now.
now I can look down on other people.
Yeah.
um,
Really lovely kit though, in
yeah.
general. Really lovely.
Hmm. I would like to see more pictures of the Salet because I think that this armor could have a very German Salet because you've really gone into and like pushed
Mm.
the envelope of how German everything is.
It is a
Uh,
quite German salad.
yeah, I'm just interested to see what's happening at the back, whether there's a proper lobster tail
Yeah, yeah.
um, going down as well, which would really kind of finish the look. But yeah, that's me. You know, when something's just really good and you have to think of how to improve it, like what could you do? Um, yeah, it's yeah, it's great. Um,
Ooh,
so Rohan Hudson has a mid 13th century knight.
oh,
Oh,
let's get
this
that.
was from back when there were all of these gnome thingies.
Oh, he's got male
Knights
gloves.
versus gnomes.
Nice, a nice touch. I've seen this guy's kit before, I think.
Yeah,
No,
fingered.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Lovely tailoring on the sleeves
Yeah,
and on the. I like the surcoat a lot.
yeah,
The coif is rare in that it's actually like a properly tailored coif.
yeah,
Um, it's a bit baggy, like around here, but you do see that in like historical imagery. Sometimes they are a
yeah.
bit baggy around the bottom. If you want it loose enough that you can take it off your head like a hoodie, you need him to
Mm,
be kind of baggy down there.
yeah,
Looks like he's got a helmet on underneath the coif as well,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
which is
It's
the
quite.
thing, which is probably why it's bigger. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, no, really nice kit, really
yeah.
nice.
I think it's all great, and then the shield looks to me like a pretty standard reenactment shield.
For this era, what mid 13th? Yeah, for this era, the
So
shield is maybe too big for a knight as well. Maybe,
yeah, I would say maybe a bit smaller, maybe a bit thinner um, at this point, but looks great. Really
but that
like it.
that tailoring on the arm of the male is really lovely,
Hmm.
and the gloves
Yeah,
is hard. Like I've done male gloves for myself before. I'm doing them for
hmm,
Elliot as well. It's a nightmare to get them right because if you go too far around the
yeah,
fingers with the male, they catch on each other and you can't
okay, yeah,
move them.
yeah,
It's a bit of a conundrum actually because in a lot of effigies and a lot of imagery, they seem to be fully mailed on the inside of the palm,
yeah.
um, which doesn't really make sense to me. I haven't
Yeah.
tried it though. Maybe you just need really fine rings or something
So,
like butcher's mail kind of thing. But
yeah. There's a
yeah,
video where Adam Savage goes to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and
Yeah,
they show him a glove that is mailed on the palm.
that's a dueling gauntlet from like the 16th century or something, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
It's much later period, but
yeah,
yeah,
it is. But yeah,
yeah, I think they were
um,
doing that. Just
so
nice.
very nice. So Rohan would probably say it's really good. We really like it.
Mm.
Uh,
Oh,
I'd
one more
I'd be
thing.
interested to see the shield, and maybe a higher quality shield to match the
Mm.
rest of the kit. So,
One more thing. It's really nice to see again on the gloves and the hands. It's nice to see 13th century kit without like massive hands. Similar with the gauntlets thing, because they shove loads of padding in because it's obviously just mail. If you're doing any kind of contact reenactment stuff, you
yeah,
end up with like huge padded, like massive mittens. And
yeah,
if you look in all the iconography, it's like they just look like hands. They're well
yeah,
fitting, and his are well fitting.
yeah. Oh, interesting. Kristoff is in the chat, and Kristoff says the male is Indian male, but that has been tailored by
Hmm.
Wojciech Trocha. Uh, so that's the standard and the Breyer. So that's a really uh, good idea. You know,
Hmm.
we've spoken about it, haven't we? Getting
Yeah,
uh,
I mean that's what I
the
do. I take the Indian mail
cheaper stuff
and
and then
turn it.
making it work.
Yeah,
And also, the Salah isn't his.
very
So his
interesting.
armorer lent him one because his one is still being made. So I'm interested to see
Yeah.
what's going to come out of that because there's so many nice little touches with that armor that make it just a little bit odd, but very specially. I say odd, like particularly German of that period. So I'll be interested to see what the helmet does. Um, YJ says, "Is it to grab the opponent's blade when the male uh, uh,
Potentially,
palm?"
it's
Yes, it's also that was one of the targets to aim for.
yeah.
Um, so
Um,
yeah,
I'm interested to see how it affects like gripping a sword and stuff.
mm,
I mean,
yeah,
you see, yeah, you see in effigies as well as artwork, like fully mailed inside and outside of the
mm,
hand, mittens and split mitten, like the Spock mittens and the
yeah,
and gloves as well. I'd like to try them, but yeah,
yeah,
it's a weird one.
yeah. I think so. Another thing that might be a possibility is one of the first big injuries we had in solid lance jousting was the lances clashed, and um, the one of the lances slid down the other one and
Oh, that
impacted
makes
on the
sense.
inside of the hand. So the lance actually guided the other lance into the palm of the hand.
Hmm.
So that might be a possibility as well. Is that if you're fighting, the weapon that you're holding can guide the enemy's weapon down onto your hand, and so therefore, if you have if the palm of your hand is just leather, then
Hmm.
that can be a problem.
Yeah, when I made mine, I've done them just on the tops of the hands, and they move very nicely. Like they're, but if I've used the size rings that I did and did them all the way around, it would just you might as well just have
Yeah,
mittens because you wouldn't be able to move
yeah,
your fingers properly.
yeah.
Ooh,
So
nice.
here we have Comis Angelus de Mirabello for a mid 13th Italian German knight kit. Okay, not my period. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
the shield. So this is similar to the previous one in period, but the shield is a lot smaller. Whether this has gone too small now, I'm not sure.
You do see some really small shields. The
Yeah,
shape of his one, I'm not hugely like. It's a bit. It's not just a straight curved triangle, if you know what I mean. Like it's a bit
yeah,
like the curved edges and stuff is interesting.
yeah,
I haven't I haven't seen one like that, but that doesn't mean there isn't one.
Yeah.
I like the peacock on the helmet.
Yeah, I like the peacock. I prefer this second picture because you can't
Mm-hmm.
see the unarmored legs.
That's the thing, though. You do have unarmored legs
Yeah,
throughout the period. You see
yeah,
them on the Mac Bible. Just
yeah.
yeah.
It just having a completely armored top with a
Mm-hmm.
full face helmet. It just looks slightly incongruous to me.
But is
But
that just a modern
it might be just a
aesthetic
modern
thing?
thing. It might be a Zach thing. Who knows? It's my
Yeah.
Sabaton brain thinking again. There does definitely appear to be some kind of tailoring going on here.
They're quite tight to the arm, which is
Yeah.
great. He's clearly got some, like I said before, you can tell in the hands there's some padding in there.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not gone too far with it. They're not
Yeah.
massive, like super
Yeah.
over padded. I can't tell if there's elbows in the male. I'm sure there must be.
Yeah, it's
Go
hard to
to the other
see
picture.
from just these photos.
Yeah, there must be because he's able to bend his arm. If it's that
Yeah.
tight and you don't have elbows in it, you just won't be able to bend your arm
Yeah.
um,
Mm-hmm.
at all. But normally they're pretty easy to see. But
Yeah.
overall, the tight fit on the sleeves is perfect. It's really good.
Yeah.
He's got the right
Yeah.
length on the surcoat. At least knee length.
Yeah. The helmet's
Looks
really
good to me.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Imposing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And in
Yeah.
this period, you do get pretty big eye slots as well,
Yeah.
in comparison to later periods, from what I know, what I can tell.
Yeah. Without a movable visor, they're still trying to find the sweet spot, right?
Yeah,
For
and I think
protection
a
and
lot of the time they just would take their big helmets off when they got,
Mm.
after like the cavalry charge or after the,
Yeah. Yeah.
when they get off the horse. Another comment: his surcoat has enough gauze, and if there is a riding slit in it, he's done it in the right way. That means that it doesn't like open up and you can't see inside,
Okay.
which is a nice
Yeah.
touch.
Good. Yeah. So, um, I would say for improvement, I mean, it might be that it's a choice to not wear leg armor. I think for me, the bottom of the surcoat is looking just a little bit bagged, which is where
Oh yeah,
basically
the lining.
um, the lining is coming away from the shell a little bit, so it makes it look like a bag. So basically, just pressing it flat, ironing it flat, and maybe running a very small stitch around there to debag it
Mm-hmm. And
would
some chaucers.
give you that sleeker look. But I don't know how often these were actually lined. Do you?
They are. You can see again the main source I've looked through is the Mac Bible, the Makajowski Bible, or however the hell you say that. They're all different colors on the inside, and oftentimes
Okay,
they're the writing slit is like folded outwards in such a way that you can kind of see.
see
Like
the inside.
I don't know if
Okay,
they pressed it in so you can see the inside. It's like presented to
yeah,
show off the lining, but they
yeah.
seem to be lined quite often.
Okay, cool. Okay, right. Are we? I thought we were getting towards the end.
So
Now there seems to be more. People have been posting more while we've been talking. Okay, we've got Robert Nupila, a mid to late 15th century kit. So we've got what appears to be kind of a Germanesque kind of style. I like the small tassets. That's a nice one. I like that you've gone for wings on the inside of the legs as well, which we
Mm,
do see throughout Europe um, as um, extra protection on the inside of the leg there. It looks like you've got a couple of pairs of gauntlets for different situations, which I think is great. So we've got
I've got the
some
male fingers.
articulated
Nice.
ones with the male mittens, and then we've got the
Sport gauntlets.
sport gauntlets. I think you've got different leg armor there because this one's got wings on the inside and the one on the stand doesn't.
You just put them on the wrong legs.
No, no, it's different leg armor. This is another person trying to get 2 kits in for the price of 1. Yeah, there
Quite
we go. We've not
the
got the
curved
inner.
bottom on the
Yeah,
on the fold.
yeah, yeah,
I think in the second picture, I think he might be wearing brayettes as well, because that's a skirt. That one, obviously, but this, unless
yeah.
it's
Looks
just
like it might have
strapped
a
in a weird way.
might be. Yeah,
Voiders as
some
well,
really
male
nice
voiders.
aspects to this armor. It looks like there's a couple of different pieces that have been swapped in or swapped out. Um, I would say, improvement wise, the spaulders are they're a little too big to be spaulders, and not quite shaped enough to be pauldrons. So you really want, if they're pauldrons, you really want kind of almost a 90-degree angle. Well, not a 90-degree angle, but you know what I mean. You want this curve here to get really deep so that your whole shoulder fits inside it. And that will help you a lot with shoulder movement if you do that. With these gauntlets in particular, I think having a knuckle plate going over the knuckles will help. You usually see that on this style of gauntlet. So it's just basically one lame back. And for the helmet, it's hard to see from the angles. I would like to see the jawbone of the visor jut out a little bit more, but that might. I know not every salad does that. That that's
It's quite nice
a
to see
lot of
quite
salads do that.
a long one as well, because you do see historically quite like salads that come quite far down,
Yeah, yeah,
but not in many people's kits.
yeah, and that's in fitting with this armor.
Mm.
It does work well with this armor. So thank you, Robert. That's again some nice, interesting differences in that armor. Nice to see. Chris Wenger, a mid 1300s German, and he has a clap visor as well. Right, let's have a look here. So this, I think, that's the like SCA
Yeah,
style
yeah.
thing that you were talking about. Let's see, there are some other photos as well. So looks like he's marrying someone there.
Looks like the shoulders are tailored on the male, I think.
Yeah,
I think so.
let's go back to this one. Yeah, could be.
You can see a difference in the grain just
Yeah,
underneath the shoulder.
yeah, it's not just T. Yeah.
It's the right length on the legs as well for this period, I think.
Okay, so I was going to ask that because that looks long to me, but it
It
isn't
might be a
obviously.
little bit long, but it's
Okay.
and the big riding slit. I don't think you see in this period.
No.
They
Yeah.
they expand it out.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you'd have
and you
fold.
see actually in a lot of German ones, you specifically see it comes to like a point in between the
Yeah.
legs at the front because they've
Yeah.
done expansions down the middle, so you get like a big triangle in the front,
Yeah.
which seems to have been like a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
But it does come down to like about mid thigh. I mean, his one comes
Yeah.
almost down to the knees.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's nice to have longer rather than shorter, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say the the padding might be a little bit too thick on the arms around here, which would
That
then,
might be a sport thing for.
yeah, could be. But then that would allow for a nice thin vambrace to go into the hourglass gauntlet, which really finishes off that look. Yeah, but nice. Show us it with Chris. Show us it with the clap visor. We'll look
I
forward
think
to
the
seeing
last
that.
one has the clap visor, doesn't it? That picture.
This one.
Oh, he's got, yeah. Is that him on the left?
That
Yeah.
one. Oh yes, yeah, you're right. Okay, so I think that needs a male Aventail.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think it's got one going on there. And we've got a strap going around it, which again is a sport optimization, not a historical one.
Looks like he's got some shorts as well.
Yes.
Ah, not tailored.
Okay.
Yeah. So
he'd need knees in there.
yeah, and that
Right.
allows you to bring the whole thing in tighter and
Yeah.
gets rid of a lot of the weight.
Yeah. But that's nice because I mean, so obviously that's a change that he can make, but it's nice to see a kit that is using male
Yeah,
shorts alongside plate because not a lot of
yeah,
people do that.
and especially for like mid-century, like they
Yeah.
were doing that quite a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Especially the
Oh man.
Germans, actually.
Yeah.
You see some really
I mean,
weird like greaves and stuff where it's almost like splint armor. You just get like a
yeah.
strip, like
Yeah.
jack chains for your legs, you know,
Yeah.
over like fully tailored male shorts.
Well, there's some late 15th century German sketchbooks that again like have all plate on the up and then male shorts all the way down to the ground. Edward Ellis says, I know it needs a lot of work and I know what I think needs doing to it, that this was taken at a training session, but I'd love to hear what people think of my Welsh combat kit.
What period? What period? It's hard.
It is hard to say, to be honest. And
Round
because it's
shield.
at a training event, we're I'm not sure. Obviously, the shoes are modern. Are the trousers modern as well, or are they part of your kit? Because if they're part of your kit, they should be thinner. Yeah.
Slimmer
So
fitting.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
I'm gonna
Edward is
assume like 12th, 10th,
yeah.
like yeah, around that era, because you've got the helmet looks, and I think he's got a coif on, so that makes it kind of like 12th at least, I think.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I don't know much about the Welsh in that era. All I know is that
Yeah.
as you get further out from like the center of the British Isles, stuff is backdated almost. They have like an
Yeah.
older style about them.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, to my mind, and I may be completely wrong in this. The helmet and the shield are mismatched to me. Now that might be a Welsh thing. I may be wrong about this, but this strikes me as a kind of, like you say, 12th century onwards. Once we've got the flat top, and this strikes me as pre-11th. And if we're thinking about 11th, then the shield should probably be domed. So Edward, I'd be interested to know: are those the things that you spotted? Changing the shield, and do let us know what is the period that you're going for, because that makes it difficult for me to say, what's.
There we go. My
There we
headphones
go.
ran
We
out of
lost you
battery.
for a second
Sorry.
there. Okay. Yeah, it's difficult to say without knowing the period, because if I'm right and there's a mismatch between the shield and the helmet, it's hard to say which one's right for your kit without knowing what period you're doing. But yeah. And then here we've got David Frizzoni. So this is an Italian, late 15th century Italian kit. The Italians did all sorts of
weird stuff
weird things,
period.
like multicolored hose and so on.
Yes. And they had a good little period where they just like to pretend that they were in the classical period.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, we're Romans. Yeah. So I mean, it's hard to see.
Yeah. I like the shields. You see that with that you get some weird shield shapes. But yeah.
And it looks like we've got the Gionnaire as a cape, but I might be wrong there. So it looks like it's hanging down the back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking good. It's you look at it and you go, that's Italian late 15th century, like, which is exactly what you want. If you could get the hose a little bit tighter, that would look even better. But yeah, looking good. And then we've got
yes, I like
David
this
Funkhauser. So this David was on the thumbnail of this video.
Yes.
Because I thought that helmet just makes you go.
I love
sit
that
up
helmet.
And pay attention, doesn't it?
You know that meme, like where do you work out at the library?
Okay,
You know that one? Yeah, this is like where do you
I
show a
haven't seen
shay?
it, but yeah.
Where do you show a shay? The library.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this
So there's
kit.
definitely some tailoring going on with this
Yes,
mail.
yeah, it's nicely tailored. Long skirt, which is good. You don't see people wearing long enough skirts, especially since he doesn't have chausses. I think this is what period did you say this is? This is like 12th, isn't it? Early 12th?
Don't know that he says. Late 12th.
Late 12th. Okay. Yeah, there's some really cool. Oh, he's got a different helmet as well. Nice. There's some really cool imagery from this era where you've got knights with those really tall helmets, those really tall like nasal helmets.
Yeah.
In that, the one I'm specifically thinking of, they're wearing really long robes as well, which is interesting. But yeah, this is kind of before they started getting really deep into doing the chausses. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And there's the curved tops of the curved tops of the shield as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the shoes rather than boots, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's something that we see throughout the period. Is more often we've got either shoes or high boots, but not so much in the middle.
And we're kind of pre-heraldry this time, this era. Like it starts coming in, I think, kind of very end of the 12th. Yeah. Well, like late 12th. But most people weren't really having anything on their shields. They'd have like patterns and stuff like he has. So
yeah, just a neat pattern. I just thought it looked neat.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think this helmet is just a great example of something that looks really odd to our eye, to the modern eye, and sometimes when we look at medieval art, we go, "Oh, that's clearly just an artist's impression. It's not. They wouldn't have actually made them like that." And then you can go, but then sometimes we need to think about it and go, actually, would they? You know?
Yeah.
And try it out. And
probably.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I like that. The Phrygian, like tip to the helmet there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a really really nice kit.
Yeah.
In general, I think the mail's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the the clear tailoring around the arms.
Yeah.
Just
Comes in nice and tight at the wrist.
Yeah. Good. So, David, you can tell us what to improve. We're not going to tell you. Okay, Sebastian, we've got. I think this is a German crossbowman. Can just
Falchion.
about make out his face there. Yeah, got a falchion going on. We've got a nice.
I like that. Yeah, the
Foreskin
quiver.
quiver. We've got nice low shoes. Yeah, I mean, again,
He
what
looks
do we?
warm.
Yeah,
Nice and toasty warm in there.
does a bit. Yeah,
I like
nice.
those helmets. They look like a salad that you've just got on backwards.
Yeah, yeah. The deep kettle hat.
Yeah, yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, can't say much about that, I'm afraid. But we like it. This is David. So this is the guy who posted the Italian kit earlier. This is
Right,
his,
okay.
fighting kit. So
I like the shield. That like long oval shield, probably strapped on the inside, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like a Scutum, funnily enough, because they're doing the Alantica thing, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got a bar boot, which is fine for Italy. Not really seen in England, but fine for Italy. We've got an Italian doublet, which looks like it might need to be tied a little bit tighter at the bottom there. And then we've got split hose, which again, fine for Italy at this point.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
We do see them. Not always, but
Yeah. Well, when you're, I guess if you're at war doing campaign stuff, more likely, right? More practical.
I think if you're portraying something that's more of the norm, then going for joined hose would be more correct for right now.
Yeah. From the artwork and stuff, they seem to like a really like refined, neat and tidy look, which joined hose kind of lend themselves to.
Yeah. And then it's hard to see, but the gauntlet and the sword, I'm not sure about. I think the gauntlet's looking a bit big compared to the time period, and
I'd expect, to be honest, with a kit like this, that they probably wouldn't have gauntlets.
No, I think,
but it might just be a fighting safety thing, potentially.
Yeah, I think you would be you more often see there's a Venetian foot soldier, which we see a lot in Italian art of this period, that use the round targa, and they wear a helmet, a breastplate, and greaves.
Yeah, I like that look. It's a nice, yeah, because they've got the shield. The shield's big enough, so, and the only bit that's sticking out is the greaves.
Yeah, exactly. So
a bit like
where I'd go with this kit.
A bit like a phalanx, like a Greek.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if I was doing this kit, that's where I'd go with it. I'd get some greaves, get a breastplate, and get probably pick one of a particular painting and a particular individual in the painting, and try and do that.
That's always the best way to get it to look right, isn't it? Find a picture and be like, just copy that.
Yeah, we'll do this. Cool. Thank you very much, David.
Oh, it's at the end.
That is it.
We made it.
For that post. We've done it. So you can see why I needed your help with this one.
Yeah.
So, guys, do check out Medieval Kit Posting on Facebook. Here we are. There's loads of people posting all sorts of different kits from all sorts of different medieval periods, and do check it out because I've enjoyed doing this. And yeah, Isaac, hopefully you've enjoyed it as well, and
Yeah, I've had
maybe
a
we
lovely
can
time.
do another one at some point.
Definitely down. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
see
can
some of the
yeah, if you want to, we can talk about what was it we were going to talk about? The Hastings Mail stuff or something or other we were talking
Oh
about
yeah,
earlier.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Nice one.
We will do that. Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Let's just check the chat. Uh, Michael says no hand mail on hands in the 11th century, right? Yeah, I don't think so. We do see a few mail shirts going down to the wrist on the Bayeux tapestry.
That's interesting there. I've got things to
Do you
say on
not
that.
agree? You not agree?
No, you do, but the you have
It's like a
the sleeve
yeah,
stops, and then they've got
yeah,
almost like another mail underneath the sleeve, which
yeah.
I think probably only goes up to
Male
the
van
forearm.
braces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what they're doing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. So the male goes as far. I'll be pedantic about it. The male goes as far as the. It's usually elbow length, but it can go
Mhm.
as far as the wrist.
Yeah.
But in a slightly confusing way. And then Michael also said that they thought that male shorts were common by the late 12th. You're definitely seeing them. I mean, there's
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
Bishop Odo is wearing male shorts in the 11th. It's
Yeah.
um,
They
yeah,
were about for sure. You see, they're weirdly they're not like fully enclosing. There's a weird progression of them. A lot of them are
mm,
tied across the back with like a cross tie thing. Some of them stop above the shoe. They stop at the ankle.
yeah,
Um, but I think kind of what I was trying to say is that it's a lot more common to see people just without them in that period as well.
yeah, yeah,
Later on, they're pretty ubiquitous.
yeah. Oh, David Funkhauser was in the chat. So yeah, that's what
Hmm.
maybe we next time what we should also do is get people if they're in the chat to tell us what what they would want to improve as well.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that too. Kit review. Someone body says kit review of the Odyssey new movie. I think that's been done to death, to be
You're
honest.
probably
Like, I mean, what
Matt
do you want me
Easton's
to
probably on
say?
it, isn't he?
Yeah,
The
um,
scalagram and all of that.
yeah, it's not great, is it? But I do you know what I should uh, what might be fun would be how would I do it rather than just picking holes. It's like what would I do, bearing in mind they need to be filming in it. So a lot of people are disappointed that they didn't use the is it the Mycenaean panoplies?
Oh, the
The really
massive
big, like
bronze.
massive bronze ones.
I
It's like,
saw a
well,
really funny picture where someone had like put that up next to it, and someone in the
yeah,
comments was like, "Yeah, but it looks rubbish, doesn't it? Imagine having that one like it just wouldn't work."
yeah, yeah. But also, like the actors, literally, they can be on set from seven
Yeah,
a.m.
yeah, yeah.
to 7 p.m.
It's got
And
to be
you've got to
comfortable.
bear that in mind. So yeah, but there is a middle ground
As
where it
long as
looks
there's
good.
no terrible male coifs in it, I'll be happy.
But the terrible male coif is part of Hollywood.
They're a blight. They exist in all periods for no
Yeah,
reason. Even
when
in things where
you
the costume is good otherwise, they just throw them in
yeah,
there.
and they don't actually wear it up over their head. They
Ugh.
wear it as like a hoodie with
Yeah.
the coif hanging down the back. No, actually, I hear that if you go to a Hollywood producer and say that you're thinking about making a historical movie, they actually hand you a male coif then and there. They're like, "You'll need this."
Yeah. This is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think we're there. I think we're going to call it there. We've done over 2
Have we
hours.
missed Blue Steel?
Blue Steel.
Someone in the chat's asking if we missed
Oh,
if
Blue
they missed it.
Steel.
Yeah.
I don't know. Blue Steel. What is your actual person name? I don't think I can.
Norman
Norman
11th
11th
century.
century.
It might have been
Oh.
one of the first ones. There was an early Norman one, wasn't there? Maybe I'm.
Let me double check.
And do a quick fire round before we
Yeah.
call it.
I don't want to upset Blue Steel. Right. I'm getting there.
Yeah, not Michael J. Foley saying not all 12,000 BC armor was big clunky stuff. It would be nice if they you know, took some inspiration from history instead of just going like generic classical ish vibe.
Yeah. I'm looking. Blue Steel
on Facebook Messenger. Oh wait, no, he's messaging someone else. Never mind.
Okay.
Thomas Hewalt is his name.
Oh, Thomas, you sent it to me on Messenger, didn't you?
There you go.
Yeah. So sorry, we just went through the
comments.
The comments. But Nick and I did actually look at your kit last month where we were talking about shields. So it says messages are missing. That's why.
No, okay.
They're missing, Thomas. I'm really sorry. Okay, here we go.
Next
This
time.
is I've got one. This is because I saved this one for
Rohan's saying he's been working on getting the chin tighter on that male.
Okay.
He may have already tried it, but you could pass other cords through and cinch it round the neck. And because you do see multiple cinching things, so that's an option if you can't actually change the tailoring on it. If you tailored it yourself, you did a great job. It looks great. Like everything else is bang on.
Yeah. Do you know what? So Blue Steel, I'm gonna have to track down more photos, and we will use it in because I'll be doing some videos about 11th century kit. If you're happy, I'll share some of your photos in that because I do remember your kit and I do really like it, but I'm struggling to find the photos to do it justice. Okay, so yeah, sorry about that. Slightly derailed at the end there. by Facebook losing some photos and me not remembering things. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining me, Isaac. It's been
No
great
worries.
to chat, and we will see you guys in another video. Thank you very much.